You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast for another IPL Spectacularo. That's what we had this weekend. Spectacularo. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Max Rowe Brown for this one. How are you doing, Max, on this Bank Holiday Sunday, this sunny Bank Holiday Sunday here in England?
Yeah, all the sun has been today, and the bank holiday is going to be shit, isn't it? Spectacularo, Jack. Is that Spanish for not remotely spectacular?
No, Max. It's a great weekend. Like we have to retain people's attention for at least a minute for it to count towards our podcast metrics.
Good point.
And you can't, after 30 seconds, say that perhaps these weren't three of the greatest games of all time, because they were in the greatest league in the world.
They were
with the greatest cricketers.
I mean, the narrative surrounding them was intense. It had so much riding on it. Thrilling.
Exactly. That's much better. We're going to be talking about KKR v Lucknow Super Giants. It was a big game, this one. Mainly big for the Super Giants, but ultimately...
And Sunrise.
KKR took it down. Then this morning, we had Chennai Super Kings v Punjab Kings. Punjab, they'd won 5 in a row against Chennai. Unfortunately for them, they were unable to extend the streak. And yesterday, the Gujarat Titans v RCB, the bottom dwellers. Battle of the bottom dwellers. No, that doesn't sound very good, does it? Not the bottom dwellers. The basement dwellers. RCB picking up another win. They're on a tear. The playoff hopes, they're not over yet. And we'll be looking forward to the weekend. And we'll have a county championship corner at some point. Max, before we get going, just a reminder to people to make sure they click the like and the subscribe button. And then over to you to tell us what just happened minutes ago in KKR v Lucknow Super Giants.
Well, what happened is Lucknow won the toss. KL Rahul said he didn't know what to do and decided to chase because he likes chasing. And that proved to be a very poor decision because Phil Salt got things going quickly. Sunil Narayan, again, got things going quickly, and he scored 81 off 39 balls to continue his mammoth season with the bat opening for Lucknow. And they just kind of kept going, really, with a blast at the end from Ramandeep Singh, 235, another mammoth score for KKR, and leaving Lucknow with a hell of a chase on their hands. And they got things off to the best possible start by going at a strike rate of about 130 for a while. I mean, to be fair, they were going about 10 and over in general by the end of the power play. But you forget that when you're chasing 230, that still leaves you quite far behind. Then a couple of wickets fell, and it was all over very quickly and very badly for LSG. But good for us that it finished after 16 overs, because didn't want to see LSG dragging out an obvious defeat for as long as possible. We wanted to see them lose quickly and lose badly, so that their net run rate was terrible.
Did we want to see that? I don't know if we all wanted to see that. I do favour the early loss. Like, I do think that is a good thing. Losing as quickly as possible. It was a bit like a gladiator in ancient Roman times. When I don't think this ever actually happened, but the trope is that they would appeal to the emperor, thumbs up, thumbs down. When the game is over, I think there should be a Roman emperor that both teams appeal to. And if the emperor says thumbs down, the game just ends after 12 overs. Like, that's it. We don't need to see the last 8.
And then off with their heads?
I don't know about that. I don't think we need to go full Aztec ball game or gladiator. I think just the principle. Like, I'm not here, Max, advocating for Roman gladiators or saying what a great spectacle that was. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it wasn't all bad. Like, we have to look.
There were some ideas that you could work with.
We have to look at the innovations. Yeah, exactly. And the quick termination of sporting events that are in essence over to put people out of their misery is a good thing. And well done to Lucknow, I'd say, for doing that, because this game was on track to end in probably about another 15 minutes from now. Like, it really could have gone a long way had we had the full allotment of overs. So, good. And well played, KKR. I think I don't know if it's gone under the radar, Max, but they've been really, really good this year. I'd say, and I know Ross wouldn't agree with this, but I think the best team in the IPL at the moment.
I find it hard to disagree with that because when we were talking about it this game beforehand, we were thinking about who's going to win, and I think what Ross and I basically agreed on was that if it's a good deck, then KKR are the better side because they can pile on loads and loads of runs, and if it's a bit of a turgid one that's a bit tricky to score runs off, KKR are the better side because they've got Sunil Narayan, Varun Chakravarti to bowl all the middle overs. So you're thinking about ways that teams beat KKR, and like, well, actually, it's kind of tricky, isn't it? I guess the one thing is the fact that Salt and the Ryan up top are kind of boom. Both of them kind of boom or bust. So you've got an opportunity if you have a decent opening spell or a particularly good power play bowler that you might nick those two out and cause them some problems and sort of take a bit away from what they can do further down the order. But I mean, that to me is about the one big way to get at them in this batting lineup, and that makes it tricky to beat them. So yeah, I mean they're a very, very good and exciting side. So fair play to them. Been really impressed.
They're an IPL team for the 2024 IPL, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if I'd look at this team and say I'd really fancy them to win the 2019 IPL, or maybe even next year's one, or
anything held in the UAE.
Yeah, many other tournaments around the world. I think this team has some flaws. I think the opening combination shouldn't be as effective as it is, but this year the ball's done absolutely nothing. The pitches have been absolute roads. I don't know if there are other factors involved. I mean, there's been quite a few domestic pacers that have been injured, so there's less threat in the power play. That might be coming into this as well. And they could just be batting really well. Like that's another factor. But the kind of cocktail of those things makes KKR really difficult to deal with. And where earlier in the tournament we might have said, is this repeatable? Is Narayan getting 80 off 39 going to happen many more times in the IPL or ever again? And the answer is yes. He is at this point, Max, a legitimate contender for the orange cap. You'd say, like he's going to get at least at least two more playoff games. You'd think, probably going to finish in the top two. So he's going to have 16 matches. Sunil Narayan could win the orange cap. That's bonkers, and that's why I'm kind of going for here. Like for this tournament, this is a really, really shit hot side.
Yeah, he's third on the list. He's doing it at a strike rate of 183 as well, which is. Phil Salt's not far behind him either. He's fifth on the list, and he's also doing it at a strike rate of 183. That is insane. Yeah.
They're good. How far are they off top? Let's get the actual numbers on that.
So Virat Kohli's 542, 1 run ahead of Gaikwad, and then it's a bit of it's 80 runs then to Sunil Narayan. Cool. So it's a little bit of a drop, but every chance. Well, Kohli's not going to be in the playoffs, and there is a chance that CSK won't be. And the person in fourth place is King Legend. So I mean, one of Gaikwad or KL Rahul will not be in the playoffs. Yeah, most likely. They could both be there, but I reckon one of them is going to drop out.
Oh, I think almost certainly. So that's
it's on. It's definitely on.
But it takes a really specific set of conditions for Phil Salt and Sunil Narayan to be serious orange cap contenders. It does.
They don't play the bowling.
If we're being honest, like that, there's some things have to kind of go right for KKR, and I don't mean go right. I mean, but like the tournament conditions have to be a bit unusual versus other T20 competitions or versus other IPLs that we have seen. In this particular one, you couldn't really ask for a better opening pair. And then, we've talked at length about other hitters in their lineup. Dre Russ, we were sort of incredulous that Rinku Singh didn't get picked up or didn't get picked for the India team rather at the upcoming World Cup. And then with the ball, like you say, like they've got one amazing spinner. They've got another spinner who is pretty good, if we're being honest, with Chakravarti. And the seam bowling around that, it's Mitchell Stark is a meme at this point. another game where he went 11 and over. I know he was good the other day and kind of won that match, didn't he? But it's enough. It's enough.
Well, I
Mitchell
think
Stark
it's
taking some wickets here and there is enough when that's
yeah,
the rest of your bowling and you're scoring
and the
250 on the reg.
performances of Harshit Rana and Andre Russell have meant that doesn't really matter, which has been huge for them because like we were probably going into this tournament being like, okay, look, they spent loads of money on Mitchell Stark, but they've got basically nothing else, and there's a lot on the shoulders of Harshit Rana, who's quite inexperienced, to deliver for them, and he has delivered for them. He's been great for them. He's taken piles of wickets, and it's been a few days where he's gone around the park, but that has been the case for pretty much every single bowler in this tournament because, like you said, there are some conditions that have favoured people like Phil Salt and Sunil Narine. So, yeah, I mean, the whole unit's kind of looking decent now. Just looks, I mean, Harshit Rana's up there on 14 wickets, so that's
Be really impressive with him.
Same as Sunil Narine. So yeah, they're looking good, and it's all come together, hasn't it, for KKR?
It has all come together.
What's happened.
Maybe the lesser said thing about KKR. I mean, obviously Narine is going to, and Salt to maybe a slightly lesser extent, are going to take the plaudits just for how bonkers that batting has been. But they bowl teams out on the reg. Like they bowled out a team today. They bowled out Mumbai on Friday. They took 9 wickets against Delhi on Monday before that. Punjab had an absolute day out against them, didn't they? things went quite wrong in that. They did not bowl out Punjab. Famously did not bowl out Punjab. But they bowled out RCB in the game before that and took 8 wickets in a loss against Rajasthan, where they lost, I think, the last ball of that game. So, running through that, they're taking 8+ wickets. They've taken
I mean, I was saying Harshit Rana's on 14 wickets. You got Chakravarti's on 16, Narayan's on 14, Harshit Rana's on 14, Andre Russell's on 13, and Mitchell Stark's on 12. Like, that's their entire bowling lineup, and all of them have got at least 12 wickets. That's incredible. It's not unrelated to the batting, obviously. Like the fact that they've been putting so many
of course,
means that there are wickets to be had. It's just perfect. Perfect set of circumstances for them. They've all been, playing really well. Andre Russell looks really, really good shape actually as well. I think that's been huge for them, and good, solid, impressive.
Cool. I don't have much more to say about this match. Anything on Lucknow, do you think that we need to touch on? Obviously, Mayank Yadav effectively out of the tournament, and I think we probably talked about that on a previous pod. Is the party a little bit over for them? Still got a winning record, still obviously can make the playoffs, but
I think this is where
you betting on that horse.
No, I don't. Not after the run rate hit as well today. They went from 0.06 to minus 3.7, not even 0.37. I think like a 0.4 run rate hit in one game at this stage of the season is pretty bad. Leaves them quite far behind SRH on that and CSK, who are streets ahead on net run rate. So that's an extra win basically that they have to make up on those two teams, probably, unless something big happens to Sunrisers. And I think it just shows that their team is, they've got some decent players, and they're all right. LSG, they're okay. They're a decent side, but stick up a chase of 235. It's not going to happen. Unless Marcus Stoinis goes completely ballistic or something, or Nicholas Puran comes in and hits 60 off 20 at the end. Those things can happen, but they're very unlikely and quite reliant on just unlikely circumstances. So I think it's just one of those things where you saw a team that are overall better and have more about them, and they outplayed Lucknow, and they'll be disappointed with the fact that they've shipped such a big loss. They were a little unfortunate because Ashton Turner looked like dragging them to a half respectable score, and then smacked one off his own foot for a caught and bowled, which was one of the most unlucky things I've ever seen on a cricket pitch. Like, absolutely, it could have gone anywhere. Could have just brushed the floor right on his toes, straight up, looped up for Chakravarti. Yeah, when you know things aren't going your way when stuff like that happens. Deepak Huda got an LBW that was somewhat similar to the one in the England-India series, if you remember, where the DRS showed the ball just clipping the bit of the stumps where maybe there isn't actually a bail as well.
Yeah, they need to look at that. That's on the list of things that people in cricket should be thinking about. Is
for all
where
the
is there a
cleverness,
bail?
like for everything that is behind all the technology, all the the genius behind Hawkeye and missile tracking level technology, to not be able to change the computer to say, by the way, the stumps aren't a rectangle, it blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind that they haven't worked out that they could just chop a little bit off.
Yeah. Max, I think we'll take a break there and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the game from this morning when Chennai, the Super Kings, on this occasion beating the Kings, the Battle of the Kings. And yeah, not so good
King Derby.
for Punjab.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. Where we're going to be talking Chennai Super Kings v the Punjab Kings. Max, this show is presented by Manscaped. Do you wanna get some Manscaped gear in? Should I get some Manscaped gear in right now?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
cool.
What gear shall we get in?
Well, let me start. Call them what you want. Knee knockers, golden nuggets, thigh slappers, but our friends at Manscaped refer to them as the boys. Not to be confused with the Pink Boys. They're the Rajasthan Royals.
Boys.
Yeah.
We need to be very clear when Ross talks about his Pink Boys, he's talking about the Rajasthan Royals and not his testicles.
Yes. Not every man has children, but every man is responsible for the two boys below the waist. When your little guys have more hair than they need, trust Manscaped for all your grooming dreams. Boys need love too. So join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com and using the code CRICKETPOD for 20% off plus free shipping. You heard it here first, Max. The boys are back in town. There you go.
Yeah.
Head over to manscaped.com, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CRICKETPOD. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CRICKETPOD at manscaped.com. For the best your boys have ever looked, trust Manscaped. And that comes with the Cricket Podcast seal of approval. Obviously, we've tested the wares on our boys and give it the thumbs up. Max, what happened this morning in the cricket? Deshpande bowled two fucking incredible balls. That's what happened.
Yeah, that is what happened.
What happened before that?
CSK were playing away against Punjab at the latest version of wherever their home ground is. In this occasion, it was the beautiful scenic Himalayan setting of Dharamshala. And Chennai opened with Ajinkya Rahane again, and it didn't work again. Please stop doing that. Please, Ruturaj, just stop it. It's not. Anyway, aside from that, Chennai got off to a reasonable start. Power play about 10 and 0, 10 and over, just lost the one wicket. Pretty solid. Then it all rather went wrong. Rahul Chahar got a wicket off an absolute pie. And then Shivam Dubé went first ball again. So I think it seems to be that the selection of Shivam Dubé for the India World Cup squad has completely broken Shivam Dubé, because since that happened, he's had 2 innings and he's scored 0 runs off 2 balls. That's not good. And then it was all rebuild job, really. And CSK were indebted to Ravi Jadeja for a bit of a recovery, Charles Thakur for a bit of a recovery, and also helped along their way by Shashank Singh, who shoveled the ball over the boundary for the Lord to save him being out and giving him 6 runs.
Sorry. I'm going to interrupt the flow here to ask how did that happen?
How did that happen?
How
I don't know, Jack, because it's
that?
a professional sportsman, and he was literally just like it was running slightly over his shoulder, wasn't it? Like to catch the ball, but he was about 5 yards inside the boundary, and he literally just dropped it over the boundary.
I don't think in cricket we make enough of gaffes in general. Like, I think probably because we've got this sort of fake spirit of cricket vibe going on. Nobody properly revels in dropped catches, missed run outs, hit wicket dismissals, or people throwing the ball over the boundary when they're 5 yards inside. Like, what we need is some compilation videos of hilarious cricket shit happening, and we
There
need
used to
to
be football stuff like that all the time, wasn't there? All
Yeah.
over it. In the early days of YouTube, all you would see was like 10
Yes.
worst goalkeeping errors in the Premier League, and they're great.
Even now, TikTok is awash with footballers
Yeah.
missing chances, scoring own goals, letting the ball bounce off their face into their own net, kicking the ball off aimlessly for throw-ins. Like, people love that content. Why is cricket so far behind the times? Like, we need a compilation video of Shashank Singh bundling the ball over the boundary, because I'm pretty sure it's not even the first time he's done it in this IPL as well. I'm relatively sure he was one of the offenders in that weird game that Punjab lost
like 3
earlier in the
times.
tournament. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Maybe that's a niche for us, Jack. Maybe that's something for us.
I'm not going to go through all the old footage. I know
whatever spare time we have outside of our day jobs and doing a podcast.
I do 4 podcasts a week, and like sometimes pick up some extra podcast stuff. Like, I don't have the time to go through all of the fielding incidents in this IPL, but somebody should make a mega compilation. If you're listening, we'll promote it. We'll chip in for your legal fees when the BCCI come for you. Somebody needs a promotion.
We will take no liability,
IPL gaffes, because this is a problem. I've just had a gin and tonic delivered, which is
that is incredible.
A touch. Yeah. That is a touch. It's even got a few botanicals in it. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that. Great work. Now, also, if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Tell us what you're drinking. What's your favourite tipple?
What botanical?
Tell us what you
Hendrix gin.
What was your favourite? What's your favourite gaff in cricket? I mean, like, we could have an amazing gaff compilation from 2023. Just from the Ashes, you've got Stark grounding the ball and being really upset about that. Then you've got the Bairstow run out. Like, there's
Bairstow carrying the protester off. That can go in there.
Oh,
it's not gaff, but it's got to go in there.
There's been about 100 dropped catches in this IPL, maybe more. We've had 50 games. I think we're probably seeing 3 dropped catches a match. Well, some of them not that impressive. Some of them really impressive. I'll go back to you. Make a compilation.
It's a lovely segue,
please.
Jack, because like Shashank Singh's drop was bad. You wait till we get to Punjab's innings. Fortunately for Moeen Ali, it didn't make a difference. But anyway, so here we are. We're back. Shardul Thakur has just hit a 6 with the help of Shashank Singh, and things apart from that are looking good for Punjab. They've got CSK right where they want them. Unfortunately, Jack, Harshal Patel has broken the rules. Now, the rules are Mahendra Singh Dhoni comes in, he faces between 4 and 10 balls, and he scores at a strike rate of at least 300, looks great, hitting a couple of flick sixes, and CSK get a respectable score. Harshal Patel bowled MS Dhoni first ball, and he made the IPL gods very angry. And the result...
It was a seed.
Hey?
Carry on. I'll keep interrupting. I've had too many gin and tonics. One. It was a very good ball from Harshal Patel.
It was a very good ball. It was a classic Harshal Patel dipping Yorker. You could see Mahendra Singh Dhoni playing the shot and realise the ball was going under his bat and do nothing about it. It was a great ball. But like I said, he broke the rules. It made the gods angry. And the gods responded by imbuing Tushar Deshpande with all the power of Zeus to bowl 2 unbelievable deliveries to Bairstow and Riley Rousseau, splatter their stumps everywhere, and leave them in a bit of bother. Then Prabhasingh Singh and Shashank Singh fought back, and Punjab were in a pretty good spot, really. They looked like they were going fairly well. And then, I don't know, the gods came back and imbued the Punjab middle order with jelly for brains, and they completely fell apart. Jadeja, the pick of the bowlers, probably 3 for 20, 5 and over. But Simranjeet Singh, impact sub, did well as well. And it was a pretty shocking effort by the end. They managed to drag a little bit of respectability back with a couple of sixes from Rabada and Chahar. But ultimately, it was, as you said, Jack, it looked like it was going to be a good game. And then Punjab, they big time.
They were a huge favourite.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even mention it. Moeen Ali dropped the easiest catch of all time. like looped up mid wicket. Didn't even have to move, just dropped it.
Was it worse than that catch Joe Denley dropped off Jofra Archer in New Zealand?
It was that bad. It was that level. Yeah, I was trying to remember who it was. I couldn't remember who dropped that catch. Yeah,
I think that's the barometer for easy catching cricket.
That's on the compilation video. About
there's
4
an
times.
amazing, there's an amazing Gatting one against India back in the day when he's fielding at Silly Point and Ian Salisbury is bowling in maybe his second and final Test match. Didn't play very many. It's a good leg break, bounces off the gloves, goes to Gatting, who is it is the easiest catch of all time.
Yeah,
and Gatting, like a kitten playing with string,
a ball of wool,
just a ball of wool, bats it to the floor, and then says the sun got in. Like he's gesticulating at the sun, like the sun got in his eyes, and it's like it's nothing to do with the sun. You just basically what happened there is you didn't think Ian Salisbury was ever going to get a wicket, so you were thinking about something else. Yeah. That would be on the
possibly fair enough.
That would be on the compilation.
That is a classic.
Good win for Chennai. This
huge win.
Yeah, like quite a Chennai style win. Actually, if you hadn't seen the game, I think you could be mistaken for thinking that this happened. This was a day game at the Chepauk Stadium.
Yeah,
it had many of the same rhythms. Many of the same rhythms. It shows what they can do when they get things right. Chennai, they can be a pretty handy team, can't they?
They certainly can, and it looked a bit dicey today, but yeah, I mean, with the ball, they're always in with a shout with the ball in those middle overs. Santner coming back in as well. Didn't mention him, but he finally got a game in this IPL, and he delivered with the ball. Really difficult for Punjab to get away, and it was the classic case of build up pressure. Punjab had no way of alleviating that pressure, not even just by taking singles or trying to run twos and stuff. They got properly bogged down. But as Ibrahim's just put in the chat, despite all the good stuff that the bowling unit did, the batting for CSK is leaving a lot to be desired. Again, they don't really know what they want to do. But I think for me, I don't know about you, Jack, but it looks to me like it's just been a case of 2 games where Shivam Dubé's got a golden duck, and it's ruined CSK's plan for the middle overs.
I was going to say exactly that. Like they're not the most versatile batting lineup, and they're not the best batting lineup in the IPL. Gaikwad is a very, very good player. I think like definitely one of the better anchor type batters. And I don't mean that in the kind of like, oh, he's a crap anchor or he bats too slowly. Like he does the role really, really well for Chennai. Like I think he's an excellent player. And then Dubé is the other guy in that batting lineup that you're worried about if you're an opposition team. And that's 2 guys. Obviously, you've got Dhoni down the order, might slash it about a little bit, and is having a pretty good season off the limited number of balls that we've seen. Golden duck in this one, but shit happens if you're playing in.
Well, if you're gonna get out for naught, make sure it doesn't hurt your strike rate over the course of the season too much.
For sure. Half his average as well, doesn't it? It's back down to the 50s.
At this point.
for Dhoni now, but like around that, there's not a lot of batting that's really great.
No.
Like I don't know how many teams are playing Rahane. I know he had a good season last year, but I think in this year's IPL, he just is. It's not even a knife to a gunfight.
The only comparison I can think
knife.
The only comparison I can think of to Rahane opening is Ridham and Saha, and Gujarat are really bad.
Well, it's actually not a bad chat. At least with Ridham and Saha though, like he kind of does
keeps wicket.
Yeah, like
he has had a couple of handy innings.
Daryl Mitchell is again not the weapon that you need in this year's IPL.
Yeah, I think they probably expected a bit more from Daryl Mitchell than they've got.
They probably didn't expect the strike rate in the IPL to be 155 this year.
Well,
they probably thought it would be 10 runs per 100 balls lower. Yeah, and then in which case Daryl Mitchell is a much more viable player, and he's versatile, and he'll be able to keep that strike rate up on difficult decks. But that isn't the IPL that we're seeing. Moeen Ali's a little bit of a spent force, I think we could probably say. Best years probably behind Moeen. Jadeja, again, like I think not many teams are carrying him in the top 6. But Dubé and Gaikwad, almost every team would like a bit of Dubé. Almost
Yeah.
every team would like a little bit of Gaikwad. And when those two fire, CSK are a really tricky team to handle. You know, like you say, Dubé gets a golden duck, then he does it in the next game, presumably to celebrate his selection in the India team.
Cheers, suckers! This is what you're getting.
I don't know. Maybe he's been partying too hard or something like that. I don't know. Who knows?
He catfished the India selectors.
But it's when he works, even if he gets 30, it's quite often it really transforms the top end of what Chennai are capable of doing. Like if he gets 30 and if he faces the 20 balls that Moeen faces, he will get 30 runs. You can pretty much bank on him getting 30 runs. Moeen gets 17. Cricket doesn't quite work like that. You can't just say, "Oh, well, CSK would have got 13 more and had a really good score of 180." But it does kind of work like that sometimes. And I think if I'm a Chennai fan, I'm not too worried. It's a win. It's an ugly win.
Yeah,
but it's
That's what the good teams do. They win when they're not playing well.
It's a comfortable win, and the one of the two best players on the team has massively negatively contributed to the game. So, or two best batters on the team, I should say. Can we talk about Deshpande's bowling though?
Yeah, let's.
Because they were absolute seeds. The Bairstow ball that's like a real Test match delivery. Then Then he does the same thing to Russo left-handed. That's actually, I always think of him as like a complete trundler, but he isn't. He's a really skillful bowler. He's just, I don't know. Something in my brain is saying this is just a Shardul Thakur guy who can't bat, but it isn't. He actually did bowl.
He got a double 100 in the first class competition.
Okay, did he?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you tell me who was he playing?
I can't tell you who he was playing. It was like
He doesn't have a double 100. He has a ton. He has he's hit 123.
Right.
Tell me about how well he bowled, because I want to do some more research into this 123.
Yeah.
I've got some theories about the range.
You reckon it might be Railways? Or...
No, Railways are good. Railways are all right.
The
Arunachal Pradesh are a team that wouldn't be
one.
club teams in Australia and England.
Oh no, it wasn't a double 100. It was 10 and 11. Was it both hit tons? Something like that. Anyway, the thing is, like Deshpande, you want a bit of assistance with the ball, with a new ball for him to have a bit of venom. And it's again like we saw some in the power play today. It was at Dharamshala, quite good for first seam bowling, as we know, and it was a little bit of life there for him, and he exploited it beautifully. But it's when he came into CSK, he was sort of 2-2ing, wasn't he? He'd bowl a bit in the power play, and you'd be like, well, yeah, there's a little bit of getting a bit of swing, but didn't look too difficult to negotiate. And then he'd come back at the end of the innings and get smoked everywhere. But I think he's definitely put on a couple of yards of pace from what I can tell. He looks a bit more of a prospect. He looks like he's hurrying batters a bit more, and I think they're sort of managing to use him a bit more wisely, CSK. But he's just got this knack of taking wickets, doesn't he? And even if they're a bit expensive sometimes, he's a wicket taker, and that's a big thing to have in a T20 side. So I've been really impressed with how he's come on. So maybe he's the real deal, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that he's not another Lord Shardul, because it could still very well be that is the case.
I think I'm happy to give him credit at this point for being. Yeah. I'm not going to call him Desh Sastre anymore.
Okay,
I have to retire that nickname. I really wanted it to work because it is a good nickname. But the guy, he can bowl. Like I'm happy to.
Deshpande the Destroyer.
Destroyer. There we go.
Destroyer.
Destroyer. His 100 in the Ranji Trophy came against Baroda, who are actually decent.
Yeah.
There are some of the worst professional cricket teams in the world rolling around and this isn't a slight on the Ranji Trophy. What's happening in India is that they're trying to professionalize every state's cricket team, There are regions of India, particularly in the northeast, so like above Bangladesh, kind of China almost, where the cricket isn't really a sport that people have played properly. So the teams are like
fledgling.
Fledgling is the word. They're either like 17-year-old kids who have grown up playing the game, but really haven't been exposed to the levels that are required to play serious professionals, or they're like journeymen that just happened to kind of be around at the time they professionalized. And some of these teams are like 3 years old. Like it is what it is. What that means is that some of the amazing things that you see in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy or the Ranji, where like, oh, this bowler got a 300, or who's that guy, Chaurav, I think, who played a couple of games for RCB, and he has one of the fastest 50s ever hit in T20 cricket. It's like 11 balls or something like that. But it's against a team called Arunachal Pradesh, who have won once in 4 years. Like they're abysmal. Their net run rate was -7. I think, for the last Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. They're effectively an amateur quality cricket team playing against guys who are international quality cricketers. And some weird.
Good on them for turning up, I say.
And that means that if someone says Deshpande's got a century in the Ranji, you have to know who it was against. In this case, I'm giving Deshpande the seal of approval. It's a quality century that, as Aurora says in the chat, Arunachal Pradesh is the San Marino of the Ranji Trophy, and that is a very apt comparison. Max, before we wrap up on CSK, Sharan says, should CSK open with Shardul Thakur? He looked good today. Can be a pinch hitter like Narayan. What do you think about that? That's an interesting shout.
That's an interesting. Yeah, I've not heard that before. I think that would be quite an extreme move to resolving the problem. I think there are probably better ways around it. I mean, you could make Moeen Ali do it. You could put Rachin Ravindra back in the side because he actually is an opening batter and actually did quite well at the start of the season. I was wondering about whether you could even give Daryl Mitchell a go because he looked like he was benefiting from when Rahane was out early and he was bumped up to 3, looked like he was benefiting from the extra space with the fielding restrictions, and thought that could be a move. I don't think Shardul Thakur would be high on my list of options to try, but I like the thought. It's even if it is a little bit Jonathan Agnew, Chris Wokes should open for England.
Can I check something? Just give me a second, Max. I am going to look up Thakur's
10-ball strike rate.
Yeah, the problem is the guy hasn't played enough cricket he doesn't qualify on my list of. So there's a minimum number of balls that are required to make it onto my benchmark list. I can do a little bit more of a deeper search. So in 180 balls, 141 balls, which isn't a lot. It's probably not enough to make serious judgments here. He has hit 181 runs, which gives him a 10-ball strike rate of 1.34 runs a ball, which actually makes him top 15%. Yeah, top 15% of players. So Sharan, like, I think your thinking isn't too bad on that one.
Yeah,
like if you're looking around the league for a kind of guy who's really expendable, hits really hard, and maybe could go up the order, Shardul Thakur might be a shout for that. Like that might work. You'd probably want to look into like what he does against pace and whether there's any evidence that he can do it against a new ball, for example. And you might not find much evidence to be honest.
Never happened.
You might need to see him in nets to kind of actually really get a gauge of whether the game translates. But there's something to it. I saw Shardul Thakur smash England around at the Oval.
Yeah, he's got pedigree from that point of view. He's done it before. Yeah,
it's not a wild shout. I don't know if CSK necessarily need to do it, but it could work. I think if you played for Punjab, I'd be like, yeah, do it. Like,
why not? Who cares anymore?
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does play for Punjab next year.
We'll take a quick break, I think, and then shall come back with part 3 and the end of our IPL weekend wrap-up.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast for part 3, where we're going to be going back in time to yesterday, which was Saturday, when the Gujarat Titans took on RCB. Before we mention that, if you're over on YouTube, make sure you click like. We've got a few people listening there, a decent crowd built up. Click that button and let the algorithm know that you're a happy camper. And if you're on Twitter, we stream this live to Twitter now as well, which is fancy because we have technology here. Why don't you click the retweet button or the heart button there, or X? They call it X now, don't they? By X, by they, I mean
Re-X our video.
Is that what it is? Re-X?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Share?
Just Rex, I think.
Rex.
T-Rex. T-Rex. My favourite dinosaur when I was young. Do you have a favourite dinosaur?
Oh, I quite like the Stegosaurus.
Dhoni for me.
Yeah. Dhoni
for me.
dinosaur.
Yeah. Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus is quite a unique. Like that's kind of like a steampunk vibe for an animal. I would say. You know that you wouldn't come up with that in your wildest dreams, but nature did.
Nature did it.
God,
well done, nature.
Depending on your flavour. Gujarat Titans played RCB. Max, this is what happened. Gujarat Titans batted first. They got 147. It was pretty painful going. Mohammad Siraj bowled pretty well up front, taking Ridham Sahar and Shubman Gill early, and that's always trouble for the Gujarat Titans when that happens. Sai Siddharth and Kame stayed around for ages, didn't do anything. Then Cameron Green got him out, which is good for my fantasy cricket team. About the only good thing that's happened for them in an entire season. To be honest, Gujarat, they get 247. Tawatia did a little bit of Tawatia stuff, but even then, it was kind of. I'm not happy about the Titans this year. They don't excite me.
No,
this didn't excite me. In response, RCB. Well, they went bonkers. They got 92 in the power play. Like that's off the chain. I know last year that Kohli and Faf they had some pretty decent power plays, but I don't think they did anything like this. They completely won the game in 6 overs. Faf got out. He 64 off 23. His innings of the year, I'd say. He gets out, and then there's
an inexplicable collapse.
Yeah, there's a weird passage of play that follows. I mean, I say RCB had won the game 92 for 1 after 5.5 overs or 6 overs. RCB are then 117 for 6 after 10 overs. And it's like, oh, hold on a minute. RCB actually could be bowled out here. They still need another 31 runs to win.
They were down to their last 2 batters, basically. And they actually had to win the game. Like, what? What were they doing?
But they did. Dinesh Karthik, 21 off 12. He didn't care that they had 38 balls to go. He just won the game. I don't know, man. Like RCB, they're still terrible. Gujarat are more terrible. But there was some fun stuff that happened in this game. Like you can't see this sort of thing take place and not smile to yourself.
Sometimes when you've got a game at the end of the season in the Premier League between 2 relegated teams, 2 things can happen, right? It could be the most turgid, boring 0-0 you've ever seen, or it could be like a 4-3, 4-2 blockbuster, all sorts of carnage, people falling over themselves, own goals, left, right, and centre. And it was much more towards that realm of game that we saw with this one than the other. Basically RCB went 4-0 up and then inexplicably it ended 4-3. But they never really looked like losing. It was a strange old one. But yeah, fair play to RCB, getting things done when they need to, when they can't do anything. Is there weird possible trajectory towards a playoff still a mathematical possibility? I know people were charting out weird routes.
Right, so it is, Max. It is.
Yeah.
There's 3 games left. Win them all, and there is a very slim chance that, well, effectively they need 1 or 2 of CSK, SRH, and Lucknow to only win 1 of their remaining 3 or 4 matches.
They need 2 of them to do that.
Because they need someone to be on 7 and 7.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, they need 2 of them. They need 2 of them to be on 7 and 7.
The problem they've got with that is that none of them are playing each other.
Isn't that good?
Well, I suppose it. Yeah, I suppose it is. I was thinking like maybe one of them would beat both, and then that.
Oh right, I see.
Yeah.
So SRH play Lucknow. I'm not going to go into all the permutations here, but I believe it is mathematically possible for them to do this. RCB, they don't have a lot of agency over the they can't claw the wins back themselves. They only play Chennai, which is if this is going to happen, which it isn't going to happen. Right, let's be really clear here. This is like a 1,000 to 1 long shot. The last game of the season for RCB is against Chennai, and there is a world where if RCB won that, they would manage to claw themselves back into the playoffs. If it was going to happen, they needed their net run rate to head in the right direction, and it actually has. It's now almost 0. It's 0.0 or minus 0.049, which win a game by 10 runs, and that's in the positives.
They could conceivably catch Sunrisers and Lucknow on the net run rate.
Oh, 100%.
CSK are the team that they're miles behind as well, so they'd have to really beat CSK.
They need CSK to potentially lose all 3 matches. Now CSK have got Gujarat and Rajasthan, so they're kind of games that they don't benefit anyone else if Chennai lose them. Gujarat winning doesn't matter to RCB. Rajasthan winning doesn't matter to RCB. So if CSK do lose both of those, their net run rate will come back down a little bit, and then maybe there'll be a permutation where RCB need to win by 30 or something like that to flip the net run rate. It ain't going to happen. I'm going to say this now, but I'm kind of happy for RCB because I think my take is that they're the team with the most identity in the IPL.
Yeah.
I'd say it's them and Chennai. But Chennai is a lot of that is tied up quite closely in just sort of Dhoni.
Well, is that not the case for RCB and Kohli?
It is. But I think there's maybe a little bit more to it. They've
got a bit more of the Spursy vibe going on.
They had AB de Villiers. If you think RCB, I think a lot of people think AB de Villiers. A lot of people think Chris Gale. Lots of people do think Kohli, and I'm not saying that isn't the case, but I think with CSK, everybody thinks Dhoni.
It's been there from the start.
And this is just me personally saying what I think about the brand identity of effectively a fake team set up to sell whiskey. So take all of this with a pinch of salt. But I do think that of the teams in the IPL, they're one of the ones with a lot of kind of sporting credibility, and I think they have a cool stadium, and I think their fans seem pretty passionate from afar. And I'm glad that the season hasn't been a complete catastrophe from start to end. There's still reason to watch RCB now. And 3 games ago, before they started this little run that they're on, there's no way that anyone thought that there would still be a reason to watch RCB now. And there is. I'll tune into their next game, and I'll be kind of excited to see what happens. We'll see Siraj finding some form for the World Cup. We've got that narrative. Is Maxwell going to do anything this season? We've got that narrative going on. What is Cameron Green? What's the point of him? That's a narrative. Kohli going after the orange cap. That's fun. Dinesh Karthik, Swan Song. It's going really well. He's just won another game for them.
Maybe he'll unswan.
Maybe he'll unswan. Maybe he'll become a mega swan. I don't know. A super swan. Maybe. A super king swan.
I would like to give some credit to Virat Kohli for this game because Virat Kohli, chasing 147, could very easily have gone, I'm going to score 75 runs at a strike rate of 120 because that's really good for me in the orange cap. But no, he didn't do that. He tried to hit 6s and score runs and do it properly. Well done.
Yeah. Well done. Well done, RCB. Gujarat, I think the less said about you, the better on this occasion.
Absolute pants. So bad.
Absolute pants. And they have been.
One time they had someone going well as well, Shahrukh Khan, and they ran him out. He ran himself. I don't even know how they ran him out. It was awful, but it just summed everything up. And then they finished it off by Oh,
What a
just
throw
bad.
from Kohli. Oh,
Yeah.
the final thing on this game. What an unbelievable piece of fielding that was from Kohli.
It was.
Like, that's, I want to see more of that in cricket. Amazing athleticism. Like, to get to that ball, to throw the ball across your body when you're running at full speed in a different direction, to pick the ball up in the first place, then to hit the stumps at the other end when the guy, by right should comfortably be making that run. There are very few players capable of pulling that off, and that kind of is one of the things that makes Kohli special, isn't it? Like, mainly that supreme athleticism transfers to his batting, and that's where we see it flourish. But there's a reason he is so good at batting. Like, the capacity that he demonstrated there in that piece of fielding is beyond 90% of the people playing cricket, who are beyond 99% of the general population when it comes to like sporting acumen. So yeah, that was good. Good rubbish. Max, Championship corner. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay, so the county championship is ongoing, and we have seen some action in it, and we're going to get some results. What I want to point to, Max, is Sussex. Jaden Seals, West Indian bowler. Like, obviously, it's a pretty decent start to his Test career. He's playing for the team on the south coast of England. Picks up 5 for 29 in 8 overs against Derbyshire to help Sussex to an innings victory and to a position atop of the Championship second division. I kind of see some of these things. I do wonder if it's a little bit unfair. Like, as many of our Indian listeners will know, Sussex is where Pujara is playing at the moment in England. He gets 113, and then they throw the ball to Ollie Robinson and Seals. Now, in this particular game, Ollie Robinson doesn't do that much. I think he picks up 1 wicket, but a couple of wickets. That's a really good opening pair in Test cricket, with one of the Indian all-time greats batting number 3, going up against a team who I was looking through.
Who belong in Division 2 of the county championship, basically. Like,
Blair Tickner is their overseas player.
There. Yeah,
like, there's nothing wrong with Blair Tickner, but the other team have got Ollie Robinson and Jaden Seals. It's just not right. It's not right. But Sussex are heading in the right direction, and that's my first entry into Championship corner. In the other one, Max, are Surrey not playing this week? You're a Surrey man, aren't you? Surrey have got a little rest, which means that they've surrendered or had rested from them. Top of the table, Essex 1-2. Lost 1, drawn 2, 74 points. Somerset entering the fray as well, 72 points. Now, this will all change. Surrey have got a game in hand. They're 1 point or 2 points behind those two. But if it doesn't, which it will, but if it doesn't, Max, could we be on for a 3-way title race in the county championship this year?
That would make a nice change, wouldn't it? It's all been a bit. Well, I mean, it's been the last couple of years. 2 years ago, it was quite close, wasn't it? Surrey and Essex, and that came down to the final weekend. Last year was a little bit like, is anyone going to catch Surrey? They could theoretically, but not really. Surrey going for the 3-peat, of course, and it would be nice to see, some like high quality, close run thing that doesn't just Surrey and Essex this year. So if we can get a third party involved, that'd be good. But yeah, great win for Somerset. Low scoring thriller as well.
It was a terrible pitch. I watched quite a lot of this game.
Was it bad?
It was. I mean, like, there's a whole debate about what is a bad pitch.
It to be good, would you? When the best score of the game is 170 for 7 in the 4th innings, doesn't scream good cricket wicket.
It was so, like, first of all, it was a little bit annoying. If you wanted a title race this year in the championship, the actual winner of this game that you should have been rooting for was Essex, and Essex took a first innings lead and then got bowled out for 138, which was not a good score. And now Somerset have won, so it looks like a 3-way title race, but it actually opens the door for Surrey to go like 20 points clear, and we're heading to the long mid-season break, quite a long way ahead. But to go back to the question of the pitch, like, Somerset obviously wanted a result here so that they could get back into the the race. It was extremely green, and not in the like New Zealand extremely green way, where it's just like all the pitches are extremely green, but extremely flat.
Actually, it's a road.
No,
yeah.
This was like archetype. This was the this is what people think of when they think dodgy wickets in the county
Team at
championship.
England, yeah.
Yes,
You've
like,
you don't pitches too. You
don't actually see pitches like that often, especially in Test cricket. But in this game, you really did, and Somerset had Overton and Davey and Lewis Gregory probably all bowling below 80 miles an hour, hitting a spot just back of a length and getting the ball to go all over the place. Like it was virtually impossible to hit the ball for extended periods of the game. So yeah, it happens. Well played Somerset for pulling it off. But cricket, eh? Max, matches in the IPL this week, or until Wednesday when our next show is. Mumbai Indians v SRH is tomorrow. Mumbai are effectively out. They're bottom of the table. Can Sunrisers leapfrog Chennai and put themselves in the catbird seat when it comes to the playoffs?
You'd think so, because Mumbai are pants, aren't they? Like really, really bad. And Wankhede, good place to pile up some runs. Sunrisers piled up 277 that they got against Mumbai in Hyderabad in the first game. So they'll fancy their chances of another big win or big performance. But the thing for me is that Mumbai have stunk the place out, right? And it would be really on brand for Mumbai to stink the place out even more by just being a party pooper in the race for the playoffs and managing to beat Sunrisers when they need a win to make things super exciting. So I reckon they're going to do that because it's like the cricketing equivalent of pissing in the pool or something.
That's a grim thought. Yeah, it's another one of those ones. Again, the bookmakers, the market, the Betfair exchange, and the win probability trackers all think the Mumbai Indians are going to win this match. And I'm just like, are you not seeing how bad this team are? Like, they've got one bowler.
Yeah, we were talking about when we were doing the previews for KKR and Mumbai on the Friday game. We were like, well, look, maybe Bumrah is going to rip out Salt and Narine, and actually it'll ruin what KKR do. And it wasn't Bumrah; it was Thisara who did it. But yeah, they kept KKR to 169. You thought, oh, this is in the bag. Mumbai have done it. We're bang on, and they were so bad with in the chase, so terrible. So I mean, they are just. They're just not good, are they? So I mean, that shouldn't be. They shouldn't be favourites for any game unless they're maybe playing Gujarat.
They're a good bunch of players, but whatever's happening there is not good. Delhi v Rajasthan is the Tuesday game. Now there is actually interest in this. Delhi have got the chance. So obviously they lost their last game out, but they're not out of the race when it comes to the playoffs. 3 games to go. They need to win all 3. But that happens in the IPL. There's, KKR on a 3-game win streak at the moment. RCB are on a 3-game win streak at the moment. Rajasthan won 5 or 6 in a row, I think. Like teams win 3 games in a row a lot during the course of an IPL. Max, is this the beginning of Delhi's streak to glory?
Well, I tell you what, if Sunrisers did actually lose to Mumbai, Delhi winning this game would really put the cat amongst the pigeons. That would be 4 teams on 12 points, albeit that have played a game more than the teams above them. But suddenly you're like, well, it could happen. But I got a plump for the Royals because they're good, and they lost their second game of the season. It was by 1 run, and by all rights they should have won it, and it all went a bit weird at the end. So I'm backing Rajasthan to bounce back on that one. They're too good a side.
That is the safe call for that game. Wednesday we've got SRH v the Lucknow Super Giants. This is pretty
massive.
Big, I would say.
Yeah, huge game.
This is the first massive end of season game, I think.
Yep.
I think that's probably fair to say.
I think so.
There's a little bit of a tough turnaround for Sunrisers. So I think they play away in Mumbai on the Monday and then have to play at home in Hyderabad against Lucknow. Lucknow
Yeah,
obviously
on the way
played today.
south.
They got a little bit of rest, so that could factor into it. Whatever happens in the Monday game, I think this match will ultimately kind of determine who makes the playoffs. I think Lucknow lose, they're going home. Is my view on this one, Max. And
Yeah.
I think for Sunrisers, it will either mean going to 8 wins, 4 losses, or it will mean going to 7 and 5, or it will mean going to 6 and 6. And I think they're 3 different outcomes, Max, and some of them are good, some of them are bad.
And one of them's like maybe fine.
Yeah.
I like. I'm going Sunrisers. I'm backing Sunrisers for this one.
Okay.
I reckon. So, I mean, I'm saying they'll lose to Mumbai. I reckon they'll beat Lucknow, and then it's 12 games, 14 points, exciting. Just the one more win need to get them right. I think they're in a good spot because they've got that game in hand over the teams around them, and I think they'll beat Lucknow and consign them to the nearly men this year.
Right. Well, Max, that wraps things up. We do have one question in from EVR who said Paterana is out of the IPL. Max, do you have any replacement suggestions? My take on this
Is there anyone left?
I don't think there's anyone left. I think the proximity of the World Cup makes things quite difficult.
Yeah.
I think there might be a couple of Australians floating around, but they'll be quite low down the pecking order. I don't know if you maybe you could convince Wes Agar to come over and quit his Kent contract for 50 grand. But maybe not. Probably Wes Agar has got something in his Kent contract saying you can't go and play in the IPL once you've turned up. I don't think there's a realistic option there. I think they're just going to have to live with it, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it will just be a bit of a rejig, right? Like they've got a couple of domestic pacers that they can bring in, right? I don't know what we haven't seen Hangageka this year. I don't know if he's injured. I'm not, but they've also got Mukesh Chowdhury if they want. He also exists. The team they put out today was fine, right?
Fine.
Just go with that. Yeah. And you can bring in a batter or whatever. I think I don't think there's any point at this stage, even if it were viable.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and tell EPR.
Josh Hazelwood?
Nah, the World Cup's too close.
Yeah,
he's got a new kid. Like he'll be doing training in Australia. He won't want to go for basically no money. Like it just isn't worth the time for him.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where cricket thinks it's a really rich sport. So, per game, some of these players are making what championship footballers make. It's not a rich game. Like, there's not enough money to convince Hazelwood to abandon his child just before a World Cup to go and play, a couple of matches for CSK. Oh, I don't think there is. Maybe he'll turn up next week. And I think as well, like I'm not the biggest Richard Gleeson fan. I don't think anyone is.
I'd make the phone call at least.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I think if Hazelwood wanted to play the IPL, he'd be playing for Delhi at the moment. But
that was the rumor, wasn't it? That they were waiting for that. So seems unlikely.
Just stick with Richard Gleeson. He bowls kind of quick. Is he great? Nah, not at all. But he's there. He's there.
He's already there.
Not got jet lag. Doesn't have to go to a World Cup. Will play in the playoffs. And that might be all you need. Let's wrap up, Max. Have a good one. Just a reminder, the show is sponsored by Serious Cricket and Manscaped. Links to both of those are in the show notes. Use the code CricketPod for 20% off at manscaped.com. You should also make sure you're clicking like, follow, or whatever button means that this will come up in whatever feed that you use to consume content. Hit the bell. And most of all, have a good bank holiday. Drive safe.